Stay tuned for more of the POS show on Stones Radio Networks. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for Dodger Dogs. They suck. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Stay tuned for more of the POS show on Stones Radio Networks. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. Coming up on Stones Radio Networks, the POS show, Phantom on Sports. Stones Radio Network's The POS Show, Phantom on Sports.
Stones Radio Networks presents PotterCast, the best podcast for the best summer collegiate baseball team around, your Lincoln Potters. Hosted by the one and only Mark Phantom Lowe and his sidekick. That's me, Stones McCoy. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's time for the PotterCast.
Yes, welcome to PotterCast, the only podcast devoted solely to the Lincoln Potters Collegiate Summer Woodbat Collegiate Baseball League.
You'll get there eventually.
Anyway, I'm Mark Phantom Lowe. That's Stones McCoy. Ignore the guy in the middle for a second. Stones, thank you for getting us a guest today.
You're welcome.
Because every time I watch the video, I go, please put somebody else on the screen so they don't look at me. And you've done it again. You got a young, handsome guy. So thank you very
You're
much for
very
doing
welcome,
that.
buddy.
We will talk about our Potter of the Week, our Pitcher of the Week, also look over the upcoming schedule and stuff. But first, we're going to talk to our guest. His name is Cameron Salerno. Cameron, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're a journalist at the Sacramento Bee. You have over 7,000 Twitter followers. And according to your bio, you're in college now. Is that true? Now, how is that even possible?
I didn't think that was possible.
It's impossible. I'm going to Sac State this fall. It'll be really cool. I just graduated from Sierra this past semester, so that was really fun. Love JUCO products. So I've been in the Sacramento Bee for almost 2 years. Started off with Joe Davidson, who's my mentor and just a great guy. Been covering football, baseball, volleyball, you name it, I probably cover it. So
that's what we're saying, because we had to reschedule this thing 3 or 4 times, and we're happy to do so.
Yeah.
But how do you keep up with that pace? I mean, talking to you for a couple of minutes, you move fast.
Yeah,
but still, that's crazy.
This summer, I've been trying to just lay low a little bit, just relax, because I need it. Because for the fall, it's going to be crazy with football and full swing. It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
So full disclosure, I have 2 kids that played ball at Lincoln High during the 2010. So I followed, obviously, the high school for a long time. Yeah. Followed Joe Davidson. He's supposed to come out, actually do a game with us this year. Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. So I followed Joe Davidson. I followed the high school, and all of a sudden I noticed this other name creeping in, this other guy that seems to be doing things. I'm like, where did that guy come from? All of a sudden he's taking over.
I'm told you.
So before I ask you, how did you pull it off? Was that always the plan?
Yeah, I mean, I started off at the Roseville Press Tribune when I was 15 and a half.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I've been doing this for almost like 6 years, which is, I feel old. But
He's old.
Oh, yeah, he's ancient, which means
I knew I always wanted to be in sports in some capacity. I mean, I love sports. I love watching it. So it's like doing it as a job. It's really rewarding. It's awesome. But I just started at the Bee 2 years ago, like I mentioned, and it's been a blast. I mean, we've really expanded our high school sports coverage, and I've always had a local flavor for kids who go on and play like with the Potters or in college or in the professional ranks. So it's pretty cool. It's awesome to see kids from Sacramento succeed.
Now, did you play yourself when you were in high school? Tell us about your playing career.
I wasn't gonna go there, but I like that. I like that.
No player. I played basketball when I was a freshman at Wood Creek. I was a bench warmer. Full disclosure. I played volleyball for a little bit. I always enjoyed watching. I team manager for the Wood Creek basketball team when I was a junior. Same with the football team, but that was a really special group. That basketball team went to the state championship, lost to Bishop Montgomery. But, I mean, I've always been involved in sports in some capacity since I was younger. And over the last few years, it's really progressed, and it's made it a job. So, I mean, you can't complain.
So your parents, I do all my research on our guests through their Twitter bios and stuff because I'm too lazy to actually really research
Do anything?
They are photographers.
Yeah, both my parents are sports photographers.
Being in the media, that helped you kind of make your decision too?
And like I mentioned, having my parents around and going to games with them and taking pictures and me writing a story about it's like the most rewarding thing ever. That's
cool.
I love working with my parents, and it's like having like my best friends with me. So it's pretty cool,
dude. That is
very cool.
I really like to hear that because when I'm talking to my two kids, I got a 19 and a 16-year-old, and I'm the furthest from their best friend.
I think if my parents are watching right now, shout out Lee and Frank, and
shout them out.
Yeah, they're great people.
Definitely shout them out. And definitely tell them to focus on you and not me.
Don't look at him.
The real athlete between me and is my girlfriend. She plays volleyball at the University of Idaho, and she'll be a senior this year. So
congratulations.
She's the real athlete out of us too. She's the better half.
Hey. Maybe we should talk to her when she comes back for a visit.
Let's book that interview next.
So, I mean, I understand that you love sports and you have the media influence, but, don't gloss over the fact that, it must have taken a lot of hard work for a guy at 15 all of a sudden to jump in and to get, a lot of people work hard. A lot of people love sports, but you're right up there with Joe, and you're doing things with the Sacramento Bee, and you're doing things. People all over this area know who you are. So it must have been really tough for you. How did you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, when I started when I was younger, and it's like I've said to anybody who wants to go in this industry, it's the hardest industry to get into because you have to have experience to go, and you have to get experience.
And how do you get the experience?
And how do you get experience when you don't have it? Yeah. And so that's the hardest thing. So it's really journalism is all about who you know and the connections you make. And so I was fortunate enough to get to know Joe for the last year before I started at the Bee, and he really took me under his wing. We went to breakfast a few times. We just talked, and I offered to help him with baseball, and because I really love watching college and high school baseball. I think that's awesome. I think it's obviously I like following them.
I was going to ask you what's your favorite sport to cover, and I know you probably don't want to say that because you cover them all. But
I obviously football, high school football in this area is unreal.
Yeah.
But high school baseball is a close second. I mean, there's so much talent. There's 60 or 70 Division I commits between 21, 22, and 23.
There's legitimate baseball in this area.
And it's not just these smaller schools. It's Stanford. It's Washington. It's Oregon. All these big Pac-12.
Zona.
Arizona, man.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we'll talk. We have to talk about that today, certainly.
But back to that point, I mean, it's hard to get into this industry. So, I mean, my girlfriend even knows this too. When I would go visit her in Idaho, I would always be on my phone because I'm just looking for tips. And as a journalist, you literally never sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, for a good year, I probably slept 5 or 6 hours a night because you
always what you had to do, right?
Yeah, and it's but you get to a point where eventually people come to you, and you don't have to come to them.
Yeah, eventually, but that takes a while,
and people
right?
will come to you and say, "Hey, this is going on."
Well, just like I did, I came to you. I literally, I saw the Twitter feed following growing and growing exponentially.
Yes, that's true.
On a regular basis, and I told Phantom, I said, I have to have this guy in here. He's been really ingrained in the high school sports scene around here, and what better place to bring his knowledge of the game is to right here to the Potter people.
The best part about covering high school sports is the people you meet, the coaches you meet, the relationships and the connections you make. But I've joked about this before, but I think the worst part about it is sometimes the parents who
we're going to get to that. Don't worry. Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes and some parents are very civil, I mean, they'll send you an email saying, "Hey, I think you overlooked my kid," and I get it. I hope
we get emails like that when we're broadcasting. All right,
and so but it gets to a point. Some parents are very cruel, and so they don't realize I'm just a 21-year-old kid, just this is my job, but man, and that's why I've really the last year or so I've tried to differentiate because I have a personal life, as far
you're
as
trying.
I have friends. I love to hang out with friends, love to hang out with family, all that stuff. And obviously, this is my job and it's my passion, but it's not my whole life,
Absolutely.
So it's definitely something I've tried to work on the last year, just kind of differentiate.
Yeah,
stuff.
I was going to ask you that because when I was watching my kids play, my son played in junior college and college in basketball. When I'm watching them play, and you're rooting for your kid, you're always wanting, hey, put my kid back in.
Yeah.
And you realize at some point, he has to worry about 12.
Yeah.
I'm only worried about one kid.
Yeah.
And in your situation, they have to worry about one kid. You're worrying about hundreds and hundreds of kids.
And that's
so
what
how do you get used to that?
It's hard because it's like there's so many schools in this area. Like when you go cover, maybe
yeah.
like if you're like a smaller paper, like the Roseville Press Tribune, for example, you have about maybe 10, 12 schools to cover.
Yeah.
But for the Sacramento area, there's like 80 schools in this area and more.
And junior colleges and a couple of colleges as well.
Yeah, and like and you can't forget about all the guys who obviously go on and play in professional ranks.
You don't want to lose track of them. That's
and
right.
That's something I've really been huge on. Like I'm huge on guys because it's not just like you build that relationship with the player when they're in high school, and you get to know them, and then. For some people, it's like when they go to college, it's like, oh, no, I'm not talking to you ever again.
But you get to see the fruits of their labor and of the labor that you put in to get to know them and interview them and let other people know.
Process,
and that's what I mean. I watched one college World Series game this week, and I watched Arizona versus Vandy.
Yeah.
I watched the whole game. I mean, I watched all 12, 13 innings.
It was a great game.
I mean, there's 5 guys from the area on the team, and 3 of them start on a consistent basis, and TJ Nichols is another guy who pitched for them, who came in relief, and then
pitched right out there one night.
He pitched right out here one night.
And then Chase Davis is another guy who's going to probably start next year. He has MLB potential too. So
there's some really good, especially right now in the College World Series. There's some really, really good talent.
Yeah, I mean,
I still
Vandy's
think Leiter.
unreal.
I still think Leiter is probably the biggest talent that's going to come out of this World Series.
I think Leiter's better than Rocker.
I do think Leiter is better than Rocker too, but we can get into that later.
Oh, yeah.
Well, talking about what you're doing now, you guys mentioned it a little bit before. You've been on the front lines of probably the craziest spring season in the history of spring seasons.
COVID.
Since
Crazy.
it's been every sport has been playing it, and you're going to like. I see you. I'm in a volleyball tournament now. I'm at a football camp. Now I'm at a basketball jamboree. So has it felt different? Obviously, it has because there's more sports. And what are the attitudes of the people that are playing? Are they just happy to be playing? Is there a lot of that going around?
A lot of these guys are just happy to be out there, And it was a process, and it started really last summer with, are we going to have a season in any capacity? Then it got pushed to December. Then they decided in December we're not going to have a season.
Yep.
And the Let Them Play movement really pushed it over the top that allowed kids to have a season. And obviously it was only really exclusive to outdoor sports. That was a whole nother fight. I mean, I wrote about volleyball parents who were very upset that the California Department of Public Health said, well, indoor sports like volleyball and basketball and wrestling can't happen. And what about us?
That's tough.
And so it was tough. I mean, it was the craziest 3 months of my life, and something I hope I never have to do again.
You've been around a long time.
Yeah, but I mean,
I love it.
It would just
I love it.
It's crazy because when you have a normal high school season or a full academic year, you cover football in the fall and you cover volleyball in the fall. And then you have that little break where basketball is just playing the preseason.
Get the rhythm going, right?
Yeah,
and
then you really start getting to basketball, and then by the time basketball ends, it's baseball season, softball season. So then you really get into that, and by the time that ends, it's summer, and then you get that 2 week to 4 week break in July and June.
And then football comes back.
And then it's summer football again.
Yeah, you're all getting ready for that.
Yeah, so it's pretty unreal.
There's no downtime as a journalist. I'm learning that right now.
Well, I wanted to we're going to do a thing later on where Cameron just goes over the roster of the Potters and tells us stories. We didn't know about that until he got here. I have a couple of questions more I want to ask you about the whole thing.
Yeah.
First of all, you did a story a little while ago about the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah.
And this is something that I'm watching. Now, like I said, my son played college. He got done right before COVID, so he didn't have to worry about it. But, with people getting extra years and stuff, I just think it's an incredible nightmare for the coaches and people trying to figure it out. What has been your experience as far as, from your vantage point, on the transfer portal?
Yeah, the portal is insane right now. I mean, I wrote that story, and it was a really good topic because people are willing to talk.
Great topic.
And a story only happens when people talk, you know? And so, they can hear my perspective and my 2,000 words on what it means, but I don't think really people care about that. People care about what others are saying. And so I talked to Troy Taylor, who's the Sac State football coach, and I talked to Dan Hawkins, who's the UCD football coach, talked to Brandon Huffman, who's the 247 sports national editor.
Yeah.
And so they gave great perspective, and it was interesting to hear Dan Hawkins talk about this because he said, if a coach can leave at any time, why can't a player?
Yeah, and that's been the topic for a long time.
We've had that conversation many times,
I mean, you see it all the time with college football. Coach leaves, an assistant leaves, and then they go on and be a head coach, or maybe they get a job upgrade and they get a pay raise. And, I mean, all power to that.
Yeah.
But as soon as a kid wants to leave, it's like the end of the world. And so it's weird because kids who are lied to in the recruiting process, who say, hey, I mean, in college athletics, this is people's livelihoods. So obviously nothing's guaranteed. But when you make promises to some of these kids who are 17, 18, who are very naive and they don't understand, especially when it's like they move across the country, like
that's got to be a tough one.
And it's tough because they don't have their family there. They don't have any friends really there. I mean, obviously they have like their football teammates, but it's hard. It's really hard. So I don't fault any players for wanting to explore the transfer portal because I think it's a good thing for college
Do you think
football.
it's set up right now? I mean, do you think
people are stacking up?
I was just going to say,
and that's inevitable, and hopefully that'll thin out in a year. But still, for the people that are doing it right now, especially I feel for the new freshmen going to school, all of a sudden they recruit you, as you said, hey, my shooting guard is leaving. I need a shooting guard. You're the guy. They come back, and all of a sudden the shooting guard's not leaving anymore because he's got another year and he's not ready to go pro. So, I mean, that it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, it is because, I mean, the best example I can give, and I talked about with Brandon, like, what about a guy like Trey Lance, who is at North Dakota State, who is clearly the best player in the FCS? I mean, if he entered the portal, I mean, I guarantee over half or 3/4 of the FBS schools would be after.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
the SEC would have him locked up.
Oh man.
Well, the question is, will that happen more? Maybe. I mean, will we have guys who are stars at in the Big Sky Conference or the Missouri Valley Conference? Are they going to enter the portal with the mindset of, well, if I'm good in the FCS, I can go in the portal, get recruited by a Power 5 school, increase my draft stock, and then go play in the NFL?
Yeah, it's a financial decision.
Yeah,
it really is a financial decision.
And the biggest thing that I find interesting is coming out of high school, a lot of kids are naive, like I said. And I've talked to so many kids and parents and coaches about this. When they come out, they're looking for, I don't know, maybe some of them are looking for the glitz and glamour.
The big school, all the extras.
Well, they like being courted. I mean, that's the whole recruiting process. You're being courted. The problem is,
are you a Nike school?
But when you get courted, then you sign on the dotted line. Then you're already they put you in the done pile and not in the courting pile anymore. And that's where the problem.
Well, when you're, I mean, who doesn't blame a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid when they go to the University of Oregon where they see those facilities? I mean, anybody with a brain would say, this is the place I want to be.
95 different jerseys.
But then you get to the point where they're matured more. They're 20 years old, and they're a junior in college. And they enter the portal, and they're like, well, this is a business decision now. I can go to a school who's a Mountain West school and shine there and increase my draft stock.
Yep.
Because, I've said to everybody, it doesn't matter high school, college. If you're good enough, they will find you. Especially with the power of social media right now.
They didn't find me, but I mean.
They didn't find you because he said if you're good enough.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I missed that part.
It was worse for me because there weren't that many kids around when I was doing it.
That's
and
true.
I still didn't get
discovered. There was 4 of you guys.
One more question, if I can, Cameron, before we get to our roster thing.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, do you hear any blowback with the pay-per-view, paywall model of journalism, Sacramento Bee? Or are you kind of like, I just work here kind of thing? I mean, it's such a weird concept of something that everybody's been used to.
And people don't get that. I'm not the one saying, hey, let's do a paywall for all my stories. I would love my stories to be accessed by anybody, no matter if you are rich, poor, no matter your financial situation, But people don't realize this. It isn't my decision. I don't make the.
Absolutely.
I didn't really mean to infer that it was.
Yeah. I don't make enough money to make those decisions, but I do think
keep going this way, you will eventually. I'm telling you.
We'll talk about next.
People don't understand that as journalists, and I've talked about this, especially with mental health with people, and people brought it up, and I made a tweet about it last month. People don't realize everyone has feelings, as far as I'm human, man. If you say something that's rude or out of pocket to me, I read what people say.
Absolutely.
And I try not to, but I mean, we're human and we look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want people to read my stuff. I want people to support local journalism.
Absolutely.
Because the more people who subscribe, the more stuff I get to cover. We don't.
Makes sense.
If there wasn't subscribers, I wouldn't have a job. So.
Then I think we need to sign up, fan.
Yeah. So finally, before I usually wouldn't ask this, but with you,
am.
I think I will. If you want to do the thing where they ask you in the job interview where you want to be in 5 years, where do you want to be in 10 years, I usually don't like that question, but I have a feeling that you may know.
Yeah.
So where are you going with this thing? Where are you going with this whole newspaper thing?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I've thought about it a lot. Like it's hard because it's like with the way journalism is kind of shaping out. Do I want to take a less stressful job like someone who like is an SID who like works behind the scenes and helps write stories like that? I mean, I've thought about that, but also too, I mean, the dream is like to work in the NFL or NBA.
I was just saying,
cover a professional team.
Yeah, like I think that's any journalist.
Would you prefer to cover a team or do the ESPN route?
I just like I mean, whatever really comes up. Like I really don't like. I mean, I love this area, and it's gonna be hard to like peel me away unless there's like a huge like opportunity.
Well, Oakland A's might be moving to Sacramento, so you might have your
maybe
opportunity.
They'll move to Idaho.
There.
Then you can like 2 birds with 1 stone kind
of
of thing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the future it's very.
Well, your future's bright.
Well, I mean, I didn't think we were gonna have COVID like in March.
Yeah,
I didn't plan for that either.
I didn't either.
No.
When I started I told you guys off the air, like I was so excited to cover high school baseball because I had covered it the season before.
Yeah.
I helped Joe Davidson with the all-Metro team, and I was so like I even have a list on my phone of like where all the top players in the area, well, pretty much every player who plays baseball in the Sacramento area, where they're going to college as far as if they're committed or not.
That's awesome.
And so I was so excited. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm going to do so many cool things with this. I'm going to write some features and all this stuff. And the one game I went to I went to 3 games, I think. The last game I went to with my dad, and this is something I'll never forget, March 12th, 2020.
Okay.
Jesuit De La Salle. Tonko Suzak was pitching for Jesuit, and Daniel was behind the dish. De La Salle was ranked number 1 in the nation by Max Preps. Tonko Suzak comes out and throws a gem, and Jesuit wins. But the funny backstory about this, which is funny, and I joke with him now, Tonko's dad, Johnny, who I saw on there, great guy. One of the best people, and like that's the reason why I love doing what I do.
We've met him. We met him a couple of times. Yeah.
That's why I love doing what I do. And I joke about this with him. So this is before the game. I get to the game maybe, I don't know, like 20 minutes early, and I see him and I talk to him, and we're just talking just about sports and life, and he's like, I don't think I want to throw Tonko that much today because we have a game on Monday. And I told him, I said, look, I wouldn't like mess with you like this. I was like, there's not going to be a game on Monday. I guarantee.
This is almost like the chills.
You're seeing into this future.
Well, because I had inside info. We're not playing Monday.
I just had a feeling there wasn't going to be like any other sports after that.
Yeah.
And I said, pitch Tonko as much as you want because I guarantee there's not going to be a game on
He
Monday.
won't pitch again for 18 months.
So
there you go.
And then he's like, okay. And he threw him, I think, 7 innings.
Oh, wow.
Or 6 innings.
Why not?
Innings.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
Pitched one of the best high school games I've seen. Like,
I'm going to listen to Cameron for all the tips and stuff.
When he tells me, don't worry about Monday, I'm going to be a little scared.
Listen, though.
So I was going to ask you, one of the questions I had was your experience with the Potters, because I know that you had a couple other people on staff that were writing, little thumbnails on the Potters, so I didn't know what experience you had. But then when you came in here, you picked up the roster, and you and Stones were acting like you old drinking buddies. You were talking about players. So I think we've got to go to the part of the show where it's Cameron talks about the roster.
I like it.
So just to remind people, this is PotterCast, the only podcast devoted solely to the Lincoln Potters, the Collegiate Woodbat Summer League team.
Summer Collegiate Woodbat League.
I got to pull this up because I know what I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
Well, okay. Cameron Salerno is the guy, and he obviously has an idea of what he's doing at all times, it seems to me. Although sometimes it seems like he doesn't. So there's our roster. You know everybody.
Where is this?
So,
okay, so
a reminder that I got to be home for dinner in about 2 hours.
Okay, so I got this. Okay, so one of the greatest travel ball teams ever. And I don't cover travel baseball, basketball. I don't really do that. But like I obviously highlight it, But this travel baseball team, because I wrote a story about Daniel Suzak as he was preparing for them, will be drafted last summer. The amount of talent on this travel ball team, the Sacramento Capitals, which was coached by Johnny and
the
Nick.
Sac Caps.
So
Sac Cap.
Let me read you some of these names. TJ Nichols, who's at University of Arizona.
Potter legend.
Out of Oakmont.
Yeah. Who's our Sacramento co-player of the year with his
Co-player
brother
of the
Greg.
year. Yep.
Mitchell Parker, who is going to be a Division I baseball player one day. He's really good.
Okay.
Tonko, who's little brother. Luke Williams, who's at UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Tyler Stahlstrom, who's with A's organization.
Yeah, down Stockton.
Yeah.
Garrett Forster, who I see is on the
He's on our
Potters
squad.
roster.
That's right. Yeah, we're waiting for him.
Carson Blatnick, who's on this roster, and Suzak. And I know there's more.
That's a
That's
death lineup.
That's a lot of Potters,
Here's
buddy.
that picture.
That is a death lineup, man.
So the story.
I think I saw that picture when you put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Somebody,
The story I have about that is when I was talking to Nick, who's Daniel's dad, when I wrote the story. He was telling me about their team and how they went up this tournament when they're to Oregon State when they were 14 years old. All the kids were. So they're probably going to their freshman year of high school.
Okay.
And I think it was the last tournament they were going to play with each other. They played in an 18U tournament and won the whole thing.
That's 14-year-olds.
14-year-olds.
That pisses off from 18-year-olds. I'll tell you that right now. I've been around them.
Did you catch any of the Stanford Arizona game today? Because as you know, we have three guys on both squads.
Three on both. I think.
Yes.
We might have more on. No,
we have three on both.
I didn't get to watch the game. I was out and about. But I did see the highlights. I saw that Suzak had two doubles.
Yeah, two doubles again. But what it blows me away is so we've got major leaguers that are calling these games, right? And they're talking about these players. And I can't remember the gentleman's name. He's a former major league pitcher, but he's in there, and all of a sudden he just breaks out into this Suzak rant of, I can't believe how skilled the kid is behind the dish, how he's young and lean and lanky, but doesn't have a long swing. He's got a nice, short, compact to the ball. And they're going off, and I'm thinking to myself, he's got an older brother that's in the MLB, and they're talking about Daniel as if he's already made it to the MLB.
And I got a few stories about Daniel, too. And
well, give them to us.
So the first story I got is he's like 9 years old, I think. So he's playing in Wood Creek Little League, and I think I'm 3 years older than him, 2 years older than him, something like that.
Yep.
And I kid you not, when this kid would come to the plate, he was 3 years younger than all the players who were playing. This is the Wood Creek Majors, which is like 12U.
12U, okay.
Mostly kids are like 11, 12 years old, but he played with the Padres, and a few of those guys were on the team, and like their team was unreal. It was probably the greatest like Little League team, like as far as like not like an all-star team.
Yeah.
Like it was probably one of the greatest teams Wood Creek Little League has ever seen.
That's crazy.
I kid you not, when Daniel would come to the plate, kids would literally crowd around the back of the
at 9 years
old.
old.
9 years old. Yeah. I know the feeling. I did it when he was out here, so I know the feeling. Yeah. I understand
they would crowd the backstop with like their video cameras out, and like kids had like iPhone 4s, and he was literally recording him.
That's crazy.
And so his dad told me, and I honestly didn't know this, but I just remember watching him. I watched him his games because I always went to those like Little League games.
Oh yeah.
His dad said I think he hit like a home run like in like 3 or 4 consecutive at bats, and they just stopped pitching him after that. They just intentionally walked him.
Little League.
Check his birth certificate. He's way younger than everybody.
And so like
anybody
who's followed Daniel like since he was younger knew he was gonna be this good. Like he's one that like as far as I was just thinking about this on the way here. As far as kids who I've seen who are younger, like athletes who are like playing a sport, like obviously like kids that can shine like when they're younger and like not be it. Daniel's one of the most talented kids I've ever seen. Like as far at his age, it's crazy.
That's high praise, man. And I will back that because
that's good.
What we've seen out of Daniel in the limited amount of time, because he played for the Potters, but he didn't spend the full time, and then we got shortcutted last year.
Yeah, we got him back though. We
got him back.
Yeah.
But what we've seen, I mean,
the Suzak families in general is like they're family athletes.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Like just the entire family.
And Nick, the dad, he's a really cool guy.
Oh, great guy.
Yeah.
So the other story I had was you guys might know this too. In high school, he used a wood bat. He didn't use the metal bat. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Okay,
I love it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he used a wood bat. I think it might have been his whole high school career, but I just remember in his junior year. It's at Sac City. I wasn't there, but I heard about it. He had a lawn home run with a wood bat at Sac City, like over the fences, like left field.
Sac City left field fence is
there.
deep.
Yeah.
380, if I remember correctly.
Crazy. Yeah. So he's unbelievable.
Yeah, I love the
And
kid.
you also, so let's move off from Dan. Like I said, I didn't know if you'd know any of these guys, and all of a sudden Carson Blatnick is like the best friend you've ever had. And you guys
Yeah, so tell us about
great
you
guy.
had a tree house together or something. I mean, something like that.
Went to middle school with Carson. Great guy. Like one of when middle school was one of my good friends, and like I think he got held back a year or something like that, or he went to like a school in between going from middle school to high school.
Yeah.
Because he's class of 2020, but he was a year younger than me, and I was 18. Incredible kid. At Oakmont, when they made their Sac Joaquin section championship run, when they had TJ Nichols and Greg Nichols and all those guys.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good ball club, yeah.
Crazy talented. One of the best catchers ever. And to see, so he was committed to Washington State initially, and then their head coach got fired. I think he's at Mississippi State, something like that. He's somewhere.
He did take another job. Yeah.
He jumped up a little bit, yeah.
And then after that, he committed to Washington and went there for like a half or season, and then he obviously decommitted and went Sac State.
Really excited about him coming home.
Yeah, that's nice.
Everybody
Cameron
was very excited about
Cameron
that.
Carr played Little League baseball.
Cameron Carr is one of my favorite guys. He was he's a Wood Creek guy too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So the story is that 2 days before their first game, we needed a catcher, and all of a sudden Cameron Carr was walking through the parking lot or something. I don't know how they found the guy, and all of a sudden he comes out and he shuffles up to the plate and gets hit by a pitch his first time up, and we're like, okay, great.
Man.
And then the second time he hits it over that fence over there, and a star is born right there.
375 footer, man.
Cameron Carr is my guy.
Garrett Forster had a great home run in the regionals against Dallas Baptist, I'm pretty sure.
Now, Garrett hasn't been on the field here at home.
Yeah.
No.
Is he
we have
even-
two Garretts. We have a Garrett Leggett
excuse
and a
me,
Garrett
that's right,
Forster.
Garrett Forster.
Garrett Forster is
Yeah.
from Oregon State.
He is not here yet.
Amazing regional and hasn't shown up.
Correct.
Hopefully next week.
we're hoping.
We can hope, yeah.
His younger brother, Brandon, is committed to Oregon State. He's at Jesuit. He'll be a senior next year, I'm pretty sure. Really good kid too. He was. I remember.
Those are names for us to look forward to for the next Potter season.
We're gonna have
guys.
Cameron's going to help funnel people to the Potters now that he's been up here.
I gave him all of our cards to make sure that we
that's
get
a good
this.
idea. Yeah, that's a great
I was
idea.
also talking to you guys
gotta
about
make a
this
card.
off air. Carson Coles. Sorry, I don't know why I said Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
That's my name.
Yeah, Carson Coles. I think we haven't actually seen him at home. I think he came in as a defensive replacement, but he's pitched a couple games on the road and been excellent.
He had a really good season at El Camino. I think he was second team All Metro, if I remember right. I mean, I have a good memory, but I'm trying to think off the top
There's
of
a
my
lot
head.
of names.
We're gonna let you go off the top of the head.
Yeah,
It's all
okay.
good.
We're not going to fact check you.
He had
Go ahead.
a really good season at El Camino. I was really impressed by him. He's at Penn State right now. Evan Gibbons, before my time at the B, he was the player of the year. Went to Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing him too.
Yeah.
I don't
Again,
think he's made an
another-
appearance yet.
Another
either.
Sac State kid.
Okay.
Let's pivot. Sac State baseball up to something special. I mean,
All right.
Look at the kids who they have coming in. I mean, I know 2020 was a really good class for them, but 2021's really, really solid, and 2022 is even better.
Okay.
Like the kids they have coming in, they have 3 Oak Ridge kids or 4 Oak Ridge kids off the top of my head. I know one of the kids who was at Oak Ridge moved to Texas, but he's still committed to Sac State right
Gotcha.
now.
Well, one of the things that we've always said around here for years and years and years is try to get Sac State and Davis to a lesser extent to keep kids at home, but it hasn't always been easy because if they're that good, then they're going to be looking, across. Now, baseball's a little different than football. You're looking to get away, but baseball kind of built that culture up, like you say, and it's kind of better for them to stay home, and some of them obviously bounce back,
Yeah,
too.
I mean, you look at the same – I feel like Sac State baseball and Sac State football are kind of on like a same like path. Like they're getting a lot of local kids from the Sacramento area. And kids are staying home where they had good offers to go to a school, and they're staying and choosing to go to Sac State, which is incredible. I mean,
that is incredible.
Reggie Christensen is a great coach. I mean, good guy. I mean, I really hope he sticks around at Sac State so he can really go to like Omaha. Like
It would be nice to see that.
I have the receipts. I tweeted last summer. I said Sac State within 5 years I could see them going to Omaha.
Okay.
No, they were in the regional win a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
weren't they?
last season.
Last season,
like
'cause
last fall.
Yeah,
Last,
it was
last season.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And they were they won a game or two.
Yeah,
didn't
they beat UCSB. I'm pretty sure.
So they made a pretty good showing.
They lost to Stanford, I think, twice.
Well, that helps too in your recruiting also if you get on TV like that.
And what's interesting about Sac State is I think it's 8 seasons or 8 seasons with 30-plus wins.
Oh, that's really good.
Only school
very good.
in only Division I school in California to do that.
Wow. Really?
I want It's crazy because like there's so many good baseball.
I was gonna say,
schools.
even with the Bruins and the Trojans and Pepperdine
Fullerton, all those.
Wow, that's
Something
impressive.
new. There you go.
Sac State baseball, baby.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Hornet baseball, baby.
Hornet
I'm a
baseball,
Hornet
baby.
graduate, you know.
I know you are.
It was a different century, but I still was and I'm not talking about the 20th.
You've graduated from many colleges. Okay,
Kind of true.
I want to
Yeah.
say Oregon State might be the other West Coast school, but I think they had like one season that was like 29 wins.
They've always had a good program. I love Oregon State. I wanted my kids to go there, but that would have meant I had to move up there and establish residency.
We couldn't have you do that.
Wasn't doing that, buddy.
We need you here.
Wasn't
son.
doing
we
that.
Need you here.
So this is a cool story too. So this is going to my freshman year of college. So this is like 2 years ago, 2018, summer 2018. So the guy who worked for the Roseville PT left, and they had no sports editor, no sports reporter. And so I pretty much like helped fill their content for about 3 months. And so like I was writing like all these like kind of not crazy stories, but just like I was coming up with ideas. The thing I really focused on was Tyler Malone. When he was at Oregon State, had a breakout regional, and then he played really good in College World Series. He hit 4 home runs or something like that. So it was incredible to watch how good his little brother's gonna be really good too. Zach Malone.
Okay.
Who's gonna be?
I love these names to look out for.
It's fantastic.
He'll be a senior at Wood Creek this year. He's going to Sac State for baseball.
Listen to that, Potters. You might want to look at that guy for next year.
No, he's really good, and his brother's in the Padres organization right now. So yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, I like that, man. I love to hear these names of these up and coming kids because we're gonna see them out here at some point in time.
Let me throw out another name, and we talked about this also. Malcolm Moore from McClatchy.
Okay. Oh yeah, you said that.
He's gonna be a senior this year. He's verbal to Stanford. One of the best power hitters I've seen come out of this area.
Oh.
He hits bombs. I think he hit 7 home runs. But the funny part is McClatchy at their field. I went there. They don't have fences.
There's no fences.
No, they
Yeah.
They just put in fences like a few weeks ago.
No, they did.
But
for him this next year,
they had to.
And so this is another funny story. I didn't go to this game. Joe went, and I didn't. So McClatchy was facing Ponderosa.
Good team.
Ponderosa's best player is Ty Uber, who's going to Stanford. He'll be an MLB draft prospect.
Okay.
Someone to ponder.
I've heard the name.
Face McClatchy. I think I had McClatchy ranked like in the top 10. Ponderosa is ranked number 3, highest ranking for them in school history. And Ben Silva, who I'm not sure where he's going to play next year, but he was a senior this past season. Outdueled Uber, but the consolation prize was McClatchy 10-run ruled him, and Malcolm Moore hit a walk-off inside the park home run, I'm pretty sure.
There you go. That's a nice way to announce yourself.
That's a tip.
Yeah.
And it's
So
so
we'll put him on Potter Watch.
And
you can do that.
And speaking of that, we'll have our All Metro baseball team come out next Sunday, which will be really good.
All right, people, you hear that?
So,
something to look out for.
If your kid doesn't make it, don't call him.
No, it's
this
not
guy
Cameron's
works
fault.
hard. He does the best he can. Okay.
So for the first time ever, and I talked to Joe about this, and he agreed too. For the first time ever, we're doing an overall player of the year, a large school player of the year, a medium school player of the year, a small school player of the year, and a smaller school player of the year.
Okay.
And the reason is it's
a lot of talent.
A guy from a smaller school might not have a chance to win player of the year because obviously his competition is maybe lesser because they're playing in smaller schools, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they still are very valuable and very worthy of an award. And so that's kind of why we did it. So first time ever we did it with football this year, and we're going to do it with basketball and baseball too.
No, that's cool.
But it'll be fun. I'm really excited.
Get some more recognition out there and you're right. I mean, not all of the schools are on the same plane.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's exactly right. Well, Cameron Salerno, fantastic job. Incredible interview. Incredible talking with you. Thank you so much for dropping by. We're going to just do a little Potter business here to conclude.
Absolutely.
Stones and I are celebrating a milestone of our own, 100 games as Potters Radio
awesome.
On Friday, the 25th.
Friday.
Awesome.
So we do have that great giveaway that we're doing.
We do.
Yeah, and you can enter in, Potter fans, to get 2 tickets to a future Potter game and what I'm calling a very large voucher for food.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's Stones McCoy size voucher.
Well, if that's the case,
Yes,
I mean, you
it
might
could
not
go
be able
into
to finish all the
into
food.
Thousands of dollars. So just email us at stonesradio@yahoo.com or follow Stones McCoy on Twitter and or Facebook.
And then send me a message.
The headline is 100th game.
100th game contest. If you want to be entered any of those ways.
Yeah, you're entered into it, and we're going to play Friday against the Crawdads from Walnut Creek, and Pat Still from Kansas City will be our guest announcer on that day.
So that means I'll get the day off, just like last time, right?
Well, yeah, because Pat comes in and goes, I know everything about baseball.
I'm taking
over.
I
take the day off. It's
okay.
fine.
All right.
Potters are off today. They play tomorrow in Walnut Creek against the Crawdads and then against the Mudcats on Wednesday. Back home against Healdsburg Prune Packers. Those guys have been rather tough this year, Cameron. And then Friday against the Crawdads. Saturday, the Mudcats. Only other home game in June is on the 29th against the Mudcats. So make your plans to do that. And then July, we start off 2nd, 3rd, and 4th against the Novato Knicks with fireworks aplenty. So make your plans that everybody can come in now.
Everybody can come in.
And
We're
they
fully
did yesterday.
open. Oh, yeah, everybody came in
Father's
yesterday.
Day was a blast yesterday. Also, we want to announce, well, it's kind of tough. The Potters didn't have the best week, Cameron.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to do pitcher and player of the week. I personally am not going to name a player of the week for myself.
Okay.
Now, Stones, you can bring one to the table.
Okay.
I had a couple of pitchers that I thought we should I thought Gustafson was good. He and JoJo pitched a great game on Friday against the Gold Sox.
Yes.
And also, I got to give Ryan Bruno came out here against the West Coast Kings on Saturday and he struck out 8 guys in 3 innings.
So I mean,
he is kind of my favorite. I also want to give a tip, the cap to Jack Horn, who returned and struck out 3 in a row last night against the Prune Packers, which is no mean feat. But I kind of am leaning toward Ryan Bruno. What do you think about that?
I was thinking about Bruno as well. I thought it was extremely impressive what he did when he came in. I like what JoJo has been doing. I really like what JoJo's been doing, and he had a really nice outing and close to riding the ship for us as a team because it really it starts with the pitching. So,
certainly does.
But yeah, I could totally give the nod to either one of those two guys. So you know what? You run the show. You pick
I run the
player.
show. I pick Ryan Bruno.
Okay.
I am going to say there were a couple of guys who played well on the field as far as player of the week, but I'm not going to give one.
Well,
Ryan Stevens likes when I'm tough. I'm being tough this week. I'm not naming a player of the week.
Can I give a manager of the week award out to Ryan Stevens, though, for really
Stones,
doing his job and standing up for his guys?
How many innings did he last night?
4.
Yeah, I don't think he made it past the 4th.
I think
so.
I still give it to him.
He was seen. It was like Elvis. He was being seen all over the park yesterday. So
all right.
I see what you're saying, but no. And like you guys were saying, College World Series, Arizona loses to Stanford today. We've got Eddie Park, Grant Burton, and Cody Jensen.
On
Cody
Stanford,
Jensen's another guy.
Of course, Daniel Susak.
Yep.
TJ
Nichols
and Tanner O'Trimba.
Tanner
Let
O'Trimba.
himself a sacrifice fly today.
Let me throw out another name, Pete Hansen, who's
yes,
he's a pitcher
for
University of Texas. Yeah, really good guy.
Granite Bay.
No, he went to Oak Ridge.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
close enough.
It's that side of the highway.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Somewhere in that film.
We can't live over there. It's too expensive.
Yeah, I think they lost their first game. Keep an eye on for him. I've read about him many times. In your
I have to
guys'
add one more thing. It's just so cool seeing all these local guys play for the
certainly
Potters, and it just the way that the Wood Bat League has really progressed. Like even for me, like the last few years, it's like just seeing it's awesome. I mean, you see how like the Cape Cod League has like been so successful. Like,
it really,
over time.
yeah.
And so like that's like I feel like for a lot of people like that's like a bucket list item, like to go see like baseball in the Cape.
Yep. Right.
And like I visited Boston like 7 or 8 years ago, and like I remember like I was like, cause that's where my like grandma's family like lives, like on like the Cape, and so it was so cool like just like being there. Like I didn't go to any games, but just like being in that like atmosphere, like it's so cool.
It's got a great reputation.
I want this out here to be Cape West, okay? The Cape Cod League West.
Cape West is
all right?
Kind of cool.
I think with the Potters and the Gold Sox and some of the other teams that we have, I think we have the opportunity and the ability in the next several years to become one of those premier destinations.
Possibility is there, maybe.
The possibility is there.
Well, look how this place has improved since we started 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
I mean, we didn't have overhanging in the stands. We didn't have we didn't have the surface or anything.
No.
And all that has come in now. And Cameron, I don't want to spoil you, but this wasn't always like this.
Yeah, no, I know.
This is an oasis, my friend, in the desert.
It's awesome.
And it wasn't always like this.
Well, I was at the season opener not last year, but the year before that. And so it was so cool, like just seeing like the field and
we were in the pop-up, weren't we?
Yeah,
weren't we in the pop-up
think
tent?
Yeah,
still?
no, I'm pretty sure you guys were. So this is all new.
You know, I was grumbling about something. You know that. Absolutely. I'm out there. I'm too hot. I'm too cold. Stop it. Leave me alone.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, it's the Cape Cod League is great. We had a couple of guys that came from there and played for us. Remember J.C. Santini?
J.C. Santini.
Oh, yeah, that's another guy.
Yeah, he showed up. He became a Potter legend in about 3 seconds.
Yep.
He walked up to the plate and hit a home run.
Went to Wood Creek with them. Really nice guys.
Yeah.
I think he's at. You might have.
He was at St.
He was at
Mary's.
St. Mary's.
Yeah.
I don't know if he graduated or not, but
Yeah. So
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was a junior when he was here, wasn't
yeah,
he?
Potter's legend,
Yeah.
J.C. Santini.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the Cape Cod League I know.
Yes.
We finally got him back, and I think Middleton might have gone back there, or might have gone to
think
the
he is-
Midwest.
I think
he
he
might
is
be there
playing there
now.
right now.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Cameron, thank you so much for
Absolutely,
dropping by.
dude,
thank
Cameron.
you guys.
Cameron
I
really
Salerno,
appreciate it.
appreciate
you
you
are
guys
the
having me.
best. Check this guy out in the Sacramento Bee. I would say he covers this, but he covers it all.
Covers it all.
Basically, he covers it all. Tell your buddy Joe Davidson we're still waiting for him. We want to have him come out
I will.
and call a game, and you got to come out and see a game
Oh, I
too.
will.
Next year we'll put you on the guest announcer list.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Absolutely.
step up for you.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
tell you.
That'd be awesome.
That's Cameron Salerno. That's Stones McCoy. I'm Phantom. A reminder: we're back on Thursday, 6:05 against the Healdsburg Prune Packers. 5:35 the Potters pregame, and 5:50 the Ryan Stevens Show. Thanks for checking us out on PotterCast. We'll talk to you on Thursday.